If you follow along with me, you'll want to have step 3, add drag interactions. In this practice file visible on your design canvas, and have the layers panel open on the left hand side. What we're looking at here in step 3 is the same content as we created in step 2. I've just gone in and deleted the third artboard, and I make some space between the first and the second. In the flow for the work we're about to do, let's go ahead and move those two artboards a little more into view. And I'm going to come in and zoom more tightly on it so that I can see the content. If I click on the two artboards, you can see the wires that we've already defined. So in the last step, we decided that whenever the user were and click on one of these triggers, it would auto animate to the next artboard. Going to give that nice kind of carousel behavior. There's another gesture that's popular in touch-enabled devices like phones, tablets, also by way of track pads, and that's the drag gesture. I can apply a second gesture to the flow that we have right here, allowing the user to either tap on the navigation or press to drag between the individual cards. Let me show you how. We go about doing that. We'll start by looking at the content on the artboard here for a moment. So if I click here on drag 01 and I click on the cards, you'll remember I have a group that I define, and in the group I have 3 cards. And what we did was slide these cards over to make them visible from one view to the next. As we animated between artboards, what I want to do for the drag behavior is actually create a click area, or in this instance, a drag area. On the individual cards. So, as I mentioned, we're going to leave the existing wire that we defined. That allows you to tap to transition to the second artboard. In addition to that, what I want to do is click on the drag 01 artboard here in the prototype mode. I want to click a second time to sort of tunnel into this hierarchy to select those onboarding cards. From here in the layers panel, I can expand the onboarding card if I want to get to onboard card B. You can also direct click or double click to tunnel into the hierarchy. If you go too far when you're double clicking, type the escape key on the keyboard that will take you back up a level. And then again, you can go in and double click to tunnel more deeply. With onboard car B selected in this case, it's a little tricky because things that fall outside the artboard start to slope into one another, so to speak. With that onboard car B selected, I'm going to select the wire on the right and I'm going to drag it to the second car. When I release it, what I want to do is under trigger. Instead of tap, I'm going to select the drag trigger. I want the behavior to be the same. We're auto animating transitions to that second artboard there. And from an easing standpoint, I'm going to change that to snap. I still like the snap behavior. Let's go ahead and set up the return trip. From the second artboard back to the first. For that, I will click off the design canvas. I'll click on the drag to artboard and double click to get inside that group. Make sure I select this car here to the left, the Discover card. It's a little weird because I'm selecting the left card, but the handle to wire it is on the right. So if you need to, just look visually at what I'm doing here. With that onboard car A selected, I'm going to press and drag that wire back to the first car. And as usual, here is the interaction. I don't have to change things because I just set it a moment ago. And that's the drag behavior to auto animate to the first artboard using the snap easing. Alright, let's take a look at that magic. I'll click off the design canvas once again. Go to the beginning of my flow, which is going to be that first artboard, drag 01, and click on the title. I'll bring up the desktop preview app and clicking in the upper right hand corner. Now I have two forms of interaction between the same two artboards. The first one is, as we have already seen, if I click on this trigger, it does an auto animate transition between the artboards. I can click that trigger to go back. Now, in addition to that, notice as I hover up top here, nothing much going on the main car. But if I hover towards the right, my cursor changes to the hand tool. And I can now press and drag this beautiful transition between the first artboard and the second. It's just a lovely auto animation that smoothly transitions from one car to another. So I can kind of just drag along as I go. I'll get that snap behavior as I transition between the two cards. But keeping in mind what we just did, the first drag behavior takes me to the second card. On the second card, when I come to that trigger area that we defined, I can press and drag to go back. Okay, next up, let's take a look at another prototype behavior that's overlays.